Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican. Today we're talking about the Constitution of the Italian Republic. And this is the Constitution that is still in force today at the time of filming. Now, in the beginning it talks about rights and duties. This is a nod to Giuseppe Mazzini, one of the founding fathers of a unified Italy. But what really reflects the time of writing of the Constitution. Post World War II, Italy having been a vanquished foe of the Allies. It states that Italy rejects war as an instrument of aggression, and so they're not supposed to go to war. They have emergency powers of police, and within 48 hours, the actions must be reviewed by the judiciary. So checks and balances, that's good. Associations and unions are free, but not of a military character. So, the history of the brown shirts. They have the right to strike, and unions must be democratic. So that's good. They recognize the right of family. Health is a fundamental right, and that's very important to ensure non-domination, especially by employers. Education is a right. There's this interesting clause on about ownership of land. It says there's a limitation on the size of land that you can own. And so there's what they're trying to do is get rid of dismantle the latifundia. So if you know your Roman history, latifundia is just a really large farm owned by one man and one person who's not able to really manage it on his own. So he has a bailo or a farm manager to do that, and probably back in the day lots of slaves, and wouldn't be able to really kind of a disconnect or an alienation with the land, even though they own tons of it. The government is supposed to promote house and farm ownership and shareholding in national enterprises through private savings. So that's really interesting, kind of a real ownership nation. Now onto the government. They have a real mixed regime. They have a bicameral legislature. They have the Senate and Chamber of Deputies. Let me just read a little bit about that from the Constitution. You have the number of deputies is 630, 12 of which are elected in the overseas constituency. So that's interesting that they allow, that they make sure in the Constitution that people who are overseas are represented in the legislature. But it's only a very small minority. It says all voters who have attained the age of 25 on the day of elections are eligible to be deputies. So there's 618. Wait, let me go back. So the division of seats among the electoral districts, with the exception of the number of seats assigned to the overseas constituency, is obtained by dividing the number of inhabitants of the Republic, as shown by the latest general census of the population, by 618, and by distributing the seats in proportion to the population in every electoral district on the basis of whole shares and highest remainders. Let's go on to the Senate. The Senate of the Republic is elected on a regional basis, with the exception of the seats assigned to the overseas constituency. Now, they've since amended that, where the Chamber of Deputies has 400 and the Senate 200. They actually thought that it was just too unworkable to have that many people in a legislature. which is kind of strange. There are larger legislatures in the world, and they work fine. You just got to have good parliamentary procedure, and you got to use your committees properly. So, but they just amended it like last year, so yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, senators, also elected by people 25 years and older. And they have to be 40 years or older. And there are a few senators who are appointed by the President of the Republic, who are senators by right and for life. So the President can choose up to 5 citizens to be honored, who have honored the nation through their outstanding achievements in the social, scientific, artistic, and literary fields as life senators. All right, and let's go on. Let's see. So the legislators are supposed to be trustees, not delegates. So that means that that public opinion is not the most important thing. That they are supposed to be, thinking about what's good for the nation and not just for their district or in the Senate for their region. They also have a very interesting form of referendum that you have to get 500,000 signatures to approve or to get a referendum onto the ballot. I should also mention a quorum is half plus one to do business, and then there are also several supermajorities that apply. You can also have they also have vetoes. The president kind of has a veto, and then you could have a veto with the people. Oh, I'm sorry, I got this mixed up. So we have the 500,000. That is for the veto. So 500,000 people could choose to veto a law. Also, 5 regional councils can also veto a law. To initiate legislation, you need 50,000, only 50,000, not 500, to initiate legislation from the people. The president is elected by 2/3 of parliament, and there's also 3 delegates appointed by regional councils. So that's how so it's both the Chamber of Deputies and Parliament, and then these delegates from the regional councils. So a lot of checks and balances there. That's pretty good. A lot of representation. The president has to be 50 years old, and he or she has a 7-year term, and so that does not align with the parliamentary term. So you have a lot of you have overlap there. And the president of the Senate is like a vice president. So he or she can take over presidential duties if the president is not able to. There's also some auxiliary bodies. There's the National Council of Economics and Labor, and they can actually initiate legislation. You also have the Council of State, which is a legal advisory body. And you have the Court of Accounts, which kind of audits the rest of the government. You have the Judiciary, and you have the High Council of the Judiciary. 2/3 are elected by judges, 1/3 elected by Parliament, and they serve 4-year terms. Now that's separate from the Constitutional Court. You have 15 judges. That's kind of like their Supreme Court. If you're in a country that has a Supreme Court, like the U.S. 15 judges, 1/3 nominated by the president, 1/3 by Parliament, 1/3 by judges, and they elect their own president. So whereas the Chief Justice in the U.S. is nominated by the president, and confirmed by the Senate. They actually have their own their own sovereign ability to elect their own president. And then they have an element of federalism, even though they're not really a federal nation state. They have these regional councils, and you have the council and the executive, and they can also submit legislation to Parliament. So there we have it. Very good mixed regime in Italy today. And until next time, long live the Republic.